Get the most exclusive and expensive meat in the world. Cook it in Dom Perignon champagne. Infuse it with fine herbs from the French Alps. Now throw it all into a meat grinder and make yourself a burger. Two obvious results. First, yeah, the burger will probably taste good. Second, you're an idiot. There's a reason the most consumed food in the world is made with mid-quality meat. The same reason a B movie doesn't have a $100 million budget and a cast that looks like an Oscar spreadsheet. And just like it would feel weird to spend $100 on something that tastes like it should cost $5. That's exactly what watching Mars Attacks feels like. A product, or maybe a whim, from a wealthy filmmaker who wanted to make a B-movie satire, but only had the letter A in his alphabet. So today, we're breaking down what happens when NASA engineers team up with Formula One engineers just to build a go-kart. This is Mars Attacks. The movie opens in rural America with an Asian immigrant, already hinting at the idea of immigration, or invasion. Then we get what feels like a new kind of culinary concept, self-delivered barbecue. And yeah, the CGI looks rough. Even for a 1996 film like Mars Attacks, you'd think that with a bit more budget for effects, it could have looked closer to what James Cameron achieved 5 years earlier with Terminator 2. But nope, these are the Martians. And just to be clear, they're definitely not vegetarians. Back on Mars, they start emerging from caves, which honestly makes sense. Let's be real, that planet looks awful. If any of us were advanced Martians, we wouldn't hesitate for even half a light year to go from that to this. It's like being a millionaire and choosing to live in the most desolate, ugly place on Earth, while paradise is right next door. During the opening credits, after that parade of A-list actors, we see the music is composed by Danny Elfman, a longtime collaborator of Tim Burton. He worked on scores like Batman, Edward Scissorhands, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and Alice in Wonderland. Many also know him for Spider-Man and Men in Black. But honestly, from this movie, I don't remember a single note, not one. Another chunk of budget gone to waste. Then we get the title, Mars Attacks, based on a set of collectible trading cards from the 1960s. Yes, really. Originally, Topps depicted a much darker and more violent alien invasion than what we see in the film. And right there, that's already a red flag. A 2-hour script built from trading cards? If you own an original set in good condition, you probably made more money selling it than this movie did. The film cost around $100 million and made about the same. It didn't lose money, but it didn't make any either. And in Hollywood terms, that's a failure. If Tim Burton had been a conventional director, this would have been a $10 million B movie with one recognizable actor and a cast of unknowns. Instead, we get a ridiculous lineup. The meteor shower begins with Jack Nicholson as the President of the United States, Martin Short as a slimy, opportunistic press agent trying to spin everything into a win, and Pierce Brosnan as the genius scientist who drops the classic line of thinking, if they're advanced, they must be peaceful, which is completely wrong. To reach that level of evolution, a civilization would need unimaginable resources, and no one gives that up without conflict. The movie itself works as a sharp political satire of weak policies and soft decision-making that could eventually lead to situations like this. Meanwhile, the stereotypical military character ends up being the most logical person in the room. The First Lady is Glenn Close, and the daughter is Natalie Portman. Yeah, this cast is insane. It's like being asked to bring 5 players to a neighborhood game, and you show up with LeBron James, Michael Jordan, Shaquille O'Neal, and Stephen Curry. Portman's character is your typical 90s depressed teenager. The best, worst decade to be that age. Great music, great movies, great TV, and absolutely nothing to complain about. So naturally, you just hate yourself instead. The biggest irony of the movie is that the least actor in the cast delivers the best character, and arguably the best performance. A washed-up former boxer working for scraps in a Las Vegas casino, trying to reconnect with his ex-wife. He's played by Jim Brown, a former NFL star who transitioned into acting and, in real life, was surrounded by serious controversies and accusations. Yet here, he brings pure warmth to the role, almost unsettlingly so. Like a perfect on-screen contrast to who he may have been off-screen. His ex-wife is a bus driver played by Pam Grier, the iconic figure later elevated by Quentin Tarantino and Jackie Brown. Then we go back to Jack Nicholson, who plays not one, but two characters. Because of course, if you're going to do this movie, you might as well cash two paychecks. Nicholson, easily the most prestigious name in the cast, plays both the president and, later, a shady, alcoholic casino owner married to a naive New Age hippie who's about to get hit with a frying pan of Martian reality. We also get a completely shameless journalist overflowing with chaotic charisma, played by Michael J. Fox in what would be one of his last on-screen roles for a long time due to health issues. His wife is Sarah Jessica Parker, playing the airhead role Hollywood kept giving her before Sex and the City changed everything. And then the president announces that illegal immigrants have arrived. Martians. The Martians have arrived. We should give them the benefit of the doubt. We protect our borders, but we can't look bad. The film introduces characters specifically to parody that contradiction. Oh, and they had a few spare lines left in the script, so they gave them to Danny DeVito. It's like needing a goalkeeper for a casual soccer match and bringing Lionel Messi. Jack Black plays an overly excited soldier ready for action, and we also get Sylvia Sidney. Yes, the same one from Beetlejuice. And again, the irony. Not being a massive star actually makes her performance stand out more. Because with so many huge names acting inside such a ridiculous movie, it becomes almost impossible to separate the actor from the character. They're just too big for the material. And that's where the cinematic magic breaks. It never fully clicks. Meanwhile, the boxer and the bus driver's kids skip school and spend their time playing arcade shooters blasting aliens. They get scolded and sent home as punishment. That's 90s parenting for you.
Come here. For what? Come here. I'm not gonna hurt you now. Come here. Come here. You think it's smart?
Today, that's probably 20 therapy sessions to figure out why they don't like school. Plus an Xbox Game Pass so they can comfortably keep playing in their room. Pierce Brosnan shows up on Sarah Jessica Parker's show. There's some light flirting. And right when things are getting awkward, the Martian transmission cuts in. And this is the exact moment where Mars Attacks either becomes your favorite movie or you absolutely hate it. These creatures, the aliens, the big-headed Martians, you might like their design or not, their animation style, their behavior. But there's one thing that's almost impossible to defend. That sound. That awful screeching noise they use to communicate. They even build a translator, which either doesn't work.
Wait, that mows like a harvest.
What the hell does that mean?
Or are these guys secret Taylor Swift fans? Meanwhile, the hippie character sees the Martians as humanity's saviors. Here, Tim Burton takes a shot at certain enlightened mindsets, mocking that moral superiority complex, portraying it as naive at best, delusional at worst. People who think they've got all the answers, while reality is literally landing in front of them. Jack Black says goodbye to his family before going to meet the Martians, and his girlfriend is Christina Applegate, a character with 0 lines of dialogue. She's basically there just to make you jealous of that lucky soldier. It's like casting Charlton Heston as a mannequin extra in I Am Legend. There's a press conference, and someone asks the president a question that screams 90s.
Do the Martians have 2 sexes, like we do?
Let's just say, that kind of question wouldn't fly today. If we were in 2026, the answer would be that there are 15 possible sexes and 10 possible genders. Back at home, Sylvia Sidney is sitting with her cat, harder than Jim's sock in American Pie, blasting some very Tim Burton-style music. A tiny detail that later turns into a full-blown deus ex machina. And then, the big moment. The arrival. The staging is deliberate, elevated above the crowd, almost divine, reinforcing that idea of false superiority. The Martians arrive, on time, possibly Japanese, by the way. Definitely not Latino. The ship looks like some kind of spider-crab hybrid. That's it. They're evil. No debate needed. Nature already taught us. If it looks sharp, weird, and unsettling, don't touch it. Their entrance feels like the day the Earth stood still. Martians have the temperament of a 60-year-old New York taxi driver stuck in traffic all week. Draw a circle. Yes, that big. That's how big the craters we're going to make are. We come in peace, the translator says. Peak political satire. If there's one thing that hasn't aged perfectly, it's that satire. Back then, it was all about speeches over actions. A hippie releases one of the ugliest CGI doves you'll ever see. A flying rat, as Robert Pattinson would say. And just like that, the Martian attack begins. No speeches, no diplomacy, just pure annihilation. A declaration of independence means absolutely nothing against a particle disintegrating laser. Honestly, this might be the most action-packed movie in Tim Burton's entire filmography. Jack Black, your surrender is accepted. And yeah, they're taking your girlfriend is ours now. Michael J. Fox, that's it for your character. Maybe try going back in time and fixing things. Meanwhile, Sarah Jessica Parker checks his pulse. But yeah, she's too late. And the hippie? Reality hits hard. But of course, there's always a new excuse. The scientist still insists it might have been a misunderstanding. Honestly, he's ready for a political career at this point. Meanwhile, the illusion collapses. A lifetime of slogans that promised unity but thrived on division. And when nothing's left, well, there's always a bottle. Then comes one of the weirdest moments. They experiment on Parker's character, swapping her head and body. The scene is as disturbing as it is ugly. Bad CGI, weird lighting, awkward angles, nothing to save it. The boxer calls his kids, telling them he's on his way. And when he finds out they've been misbehaving, let's just say there will be more punches than in Rocky IV. The Martians request a meeting with Congress to apologize. And somehow, it works. It's almost impressive how easily they manipulate everyone, mocking them to their faces and still getting away with it. Of course, no apology ever comes. Just more lasers. They capture Pierce Brosnan and give him the full Futurama treatment. A reminder of how rough special effects could look 30 years ago. Sometimes practical effects really were better. And yet, somehow, love still survives. Even as just a head, he's still into the ditzy reporter. If that's not love, nothing is. Speaking of love, Martin Short tries to charm Lisa Marie, who at the time was Tim Burton's partner before he later met Helena Bonham Carter. Make of that what you will. I don't understand Tim Burton. Let's just say she's very nice and a good person. One of the film's standout elements is her character design. The walk, the silence, the mystery, the outfit, the hair. And again, having a lesser-known actress actually helps. You see the character, not the celebrity behind it. Of course, that romantic night doesn't go as planned. Turns out she comes with a surprise. One of the darkest and most grotesque moments in Burton's filmography. And that's saying something. The Martian tries to take out the president, but commits the ultimate cinematic sin. You don't kill the dog. And honestly, it's lucky John Wick isn't around, or that entire invasion ends with 2 pistols and a couple of grenades. They lose one of their own, and instantly go full revenge mode. Now the real invasion begins. They toy with humanity, crushing people under their own monuments. And somehow, a school field trip is still happening in the middle of an alien invasion. At this point, the script clearly needed the boxers' kids there to show off their arcade-trained shooting skills. And that's it for Glenn Close. taken out in one of the most bizarre scenes imaginable. Nicholson's second character also goes down. Fun fact, that Vegas destruction sequence? It was a real scheduled demolition that Tim Burton decided to use in the film. No wasted money. There were still more stars to pay. Oh, and yes, Tom Jones is here too. Why not? France gets attacked. A minor loss, some would say. Save the baguettes, the croissants, the macarons. We can live without the Eiffel Tower.
Don't run. We are your friends.
Some might argue that those off-screen shooting sequences are a parody of 1950s B-movies. But let's be honest, Batman has similar staging. Safe to say, action isn't Burton's strongest suit. Just like fight choreography isn't exactly Christopher Nolan's specialty. Every director has their weak spot. So, naturally, time for the ultimate 90s solution. The nuclear missile. The peak of human weapon evolution. And of course, the aliens have their own version of a space bomb, pure aura, as people would say today. England falls. Predictable. They disconnect the call centers. I mean, India is attacked too, Easter Island. Everything's going downhill fast. Christina Applegate gets her moment and dies. Truly unforgettable. For all the wrong reasons. Danny DeVito explodes, leaving behind a small stain on the script and a very large deposit in his bank account. And in the end, the only character who actually evolves, the New Age hippie. No more peace and love. Now it's lasers and revenge. The grandson goes looking for his grandmother, chased by a surprisingly well-designed robot, which gets taken out by something as simple as exposed electrical wires. Meanwhile, Grandma is about to get a Martian-style hearing test. And here comes the ultimate deus ex machina. The music she's listening to is lethal to the aliens. At this point, anything goes. If The War of the Worlds, one of the most iconic sci-fi stories ever, ends with a deus ex machina, then this gets a pass too. The general gets crushed, and Jack Nicholson delivers a heartfelt speech about peace, which almost moves the Martians. Almost. The boxer sacrifices himself so the others can escape. Humanity fights back with music. Yes, the power of music defeats an advanced alien civilization. The floating heads reunite, confess their love. No bodies left, just brains. But somehow still all heart. Humanity wins. Democracy can return, or whatever's left of it. And in the end, the boxer survives, leaving behind the film's one sincere message. As long as there's family behind those walls, rebuilding is always worth it. With Tom Jones and his music alongside a random hawk, Mars Attacks comes to an end. And in the end, you're left with a strange kind of emptiness, something spectacular, but without magic. Like a magic trick performed perfectly, just by a robot. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, and if you want more content like this, consider subscribing. And let me know in the comments. What would you pick? A beautiful face with a dog's body or the other way around? See you in the next video.